Hello everyone, and welcome to another live stream with me, Grizzly. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, so I'm going to play the intro one more time for us. Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we are here to talk about Suzanne Morphew's case. There's been some big news in the release of her autopsy results, which are very interesting if you think of the entire case and the context of it all and who they arrested before and all of that. So we're going to discuss all of it. I'm going to do an entire case recap for you. So don't worry if you don't know about the case. I had a little poll going before I went live, and on there I could see that at least 18% of the Grizzlies here didn't know about the case yet. So don't worry. We're going to go over everything. I've already got a playlist for this case, and we've done one deep dive live stream before. When I say deep dive, I've never discussed the probable cause affidavit here because, of course, they let the husband go, that never went to trial. Let him go without prejudice, so he can be charged again, okay? But I never went over that because we have to wait to see what happens next. But it's very interesting, I think, now with what happened with this autopsy results. So we're going to go over all of it. Here we go. Let me just get the chat going. Linda, thank you for being a member for 30 months. Oh my goodness. Okay, so thank you to MB Inc. who is in the chat here. You said power ballad. Yes, I got the intro ready for us. For sending me so much information on this case. MB Inc., Matt knows a lot about this case and really has done a deep dive. So thank you, Matt, for all the information. So Lauren Sharp said today would have been Suzanne Morphew's 53rd birthday, as in today. She would have turned 53 today only. Oh my goodness, she shares a birthday with her older sister, Melinda. Shame. I never knew that. Happy birthday, Melinda, and happy heavenly birthday, Suzanne. We are one step closer to finding justice for Suzanne Morphew. So you can see that hashtag there. I think I must add it to mine. If you want to like and share, please share that hashtag as well, justice for Suzanne Morphew. And I also believe we're one step closer, right? Norm says, I heard the PCA was long and very in-depth. It was 131 pages is when you look at the whole document. But when they quoted, they say 129 because, there'll be a blank page here or there. 129 pages of probable cause affidavit that we didn't go through before. Maybe one day we will, depending on what happens in this case. So, shame, man. I know everybody shares, yellow hearts and ribbons for Suzanne. If you want to share that in the chat, that would be amazing. I was also a little bit late today because I was looking through all my cupboards for a yellow top. I don't have one. I don't have a yellow top. But I wanted to wear one for Suzanne, so I guess it's the thought that counts. The next best color is teal. As you can see, even on that picture in the background, they have like a yellow banner that says hashtag shine bright for Suzanne, and then with like teal butterflies. So that's the best I could do right now. Lady in Grey, thank you so much for being here with us. So Shayman, wishing a happy birthday to her older sister, Melinda. It's a happy day and a very sad day as well. She must miss her sister a lot. All right, so now let's do a little recap and then we'll go over the news because we've got to make sure we're all on the same page. If I speak a little bit too fast, don't worry. There is a episode that I've done already where we went over this entire presentation. I've added a little bit of new bits of information here and there, but in general, that one we did nice and slowly, and we looked at some, news clips and helicopter footage and Barry Morphew's media plea for his wife. So we looked at that before as well. If you do want to see that, it's linked in the description box for you. Jules, thanks for being a member for 12 months. So, the last time we spoke, after 1,236 days of being missing, Suzanne Morphew's remains were located in Moffat, Colorado. You know what's so crazy? Her remains were located by chance. The police were actually busy looking for a lady called Edna Quintana, and I believe they've never found her. Shame! But they were looking for Edna, and then came across these remains, tested them, and it turned out to be Suzanne Morphew. I can't believe it. That's just, what an incredible story as well, right? Thank you, everyone, for the yellow hearts for Suzanne. So you can see there's yellow ribbons and teal ribbons and yellow hearts. You could also share teal ones if you want to. So, yeah, they're asking the community, as you can see in this little newspaper clip, to display yellow or turquoise ribbons in honor of Suzanne Morphew. Yes, Emily, justice for Suzanne, absolutely. Shame, man, and she was so beautiful. And no one knows exactly what happened to her, but now we know that she died by homicide. So that's the first time we have confirmation of that. So Suzanne R. Moorman Morphew was born on April 30th of 1971 in Indiana, USA. She was married to Barry Morphew and was a mother of two when she was last seen on Mother's Day in 2020, May 10th of 2020. What's really sad is that her daughters are very much on, Barry Morphew's side, which it's sad because, like, who's fighting for Suzanne? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, shame, man. She went missing on Mother's Day as well. Oh, my goodness. So Suzanne apparently set off from her home on a solo bike ride. That's the story that we hear from the husband, right? She went off on a solo bike ride, possibly wearing a turquoise bicycle helmet. No further description of her and what she may have been wearing before she vanished was provided. And it's interesting when we see the autopsy report what clothing was found there, which was a crested butte hoodie, not her biking clothes. So, in my opinion, I don't know if the biking thing seems a little bit staged to me, but we shall see. Who knows? At this point, we don't know enough, but hopefully one day we will. Yeah, thank you. There we go. There's a nice one. Thank you, Deb, for sharing the butterflies. If I missed saying hello to everyone, welcome. Moderators, members, patrons, everyone. We're going to have a Patreon-only live stream right after this, okay? So if you are on Patreon, make sure you go there for the link as soon as this live stream finishes. Now, Suzanne met Barry in high school in Indiana. Suzanne competed for Homecoming Queen, and Barry was a star baseball player. They both attended Purdue University, and they got married in 1994. He became a landscaper, and she was a teacher, and then she became a full-time mom. At the time of her disappearance, they'd been married for 25 years. Barry was a hunter. Suzanne loved the outdoors and mountain biking, and the family lived a beautiful life in a stunning home in Colorado. Really, it's a really beautiful home. I'm sure if you know the case a bit, you've seen it. If not, just look it up. Oh my goodness. Elvin Summer Moon says, Proud Grizzly, look forward to many more. Sent you an email. Thank you so much, Elvin, for being a member. Okay, so look at these photos. Shame, man. She's always smiling. She's got such a bright face, right, Suzanne? So here we go. Suzanne had purchased a spy pen, okay, to catch Barry having an affair. And it was also later revealed from the spy pen that she was having an affair with a man named Jeff Libler, a man from Michigan. They'd met, wait. Jeff Libler, a man from Michigan. They had a one-time fling in high school, and then they started chatting on Facebook in 2018 again. So these are just the bullet points of the case, of course, taking from the PCA. I just want to make sure you get a very good overview of the case, especially if you need a refresher or you've never heard of it before. So Suzanne told friends that Barry was physically and emotionally abusive, and she texted him on May 6th to say, I'm done. I could care less what you're up to, and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly. So, we see a lot of cases like this where someone's documenting. It says in the PCA she was documenting her abuse. and she's wanting a divorce. And we know if somebody is an aggressor or coercive controller, the most dangerous time is when you're trying to leave them, right? Shame. We've seen so many cases like this. So, okay. Now, if we keep going there, someone says, just hold on 1 second. Wait. Yes, okay, wait. I just want to see. PF said, not true. There were 2 pens a friend gave her. She was concerned about Suzanne. Well, those are the spy pens, right? So that she could catch him having an affair, and because she was concerned. Okay, feel free to leave some information in the chat here, and definitely in the comments below as well. I look forward to reading all of them after the live stream. Okay, yeah, you guys are like that picture of him in the doorway. I know, right? So Jeff is a married man from Michigan with 6 children. Investigators took 6 months to find out who Suzanne was having an affair with, and when they located Jeff, he said that he had deleted all of his social media accounts. Especially after Suzanne went missing, because he didn't want to tarnish her memory, and he was worried that he would become a target or a suspect and that he would lose his family. He then gave the police all his passwords to the deleted accounts and cooperated fully, which revealed that the pair had met up in many places since their conversation in 2018. They had discussed someday getting married to each other, leaving the USA to start a new life together, for example in Ecuador, something they spoke about, and the selfie that Suzanne sent to him is called her last proof of life photo. Shame. There's the photo. Thank you so much, Phantom. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Oh, PF says she was concerned about Barry's behavior. Shame. I'm sure friends, if she had opened up to friends about what she was experiencing in the relationship based on what I read on the PCA, yeah. Okay, so that photo that you could see there, I could make it a little bit bigger if you like. How about that? Okay. Is her last proof of life photo. Okay. So what happened on May 10th of 2020? Barry says that on May 9th of 2020, they had a nice dinner together and that they were intimate, and then they went to sleep. On that day, Suzanne had sent a selfie to Jeff, and they had sent 59 messages between each other that day. Okay, so note, we only have Barry's account of what happened. At 2:26 p.m., Barry said that he was heading home. When Suzanne didn't respond, he texted, "Did you leave?" His phone went into airplane mode from 2:47 p.m. to 10:17 p.m. That's not a red flag, right? It's okay if your phone goes into airplane mode. It's nothing suspicious to see there at all, right? I don't know about that. I'm just like, oh, airplane mode. Not trying to point a finger, just looking at it like, oh, wow. Okay, he said that the last he saw was when she was in bed asleep on May 10th of 2020, which was the next morning when he left for work. He drove to a job site in Broomfield, Colorado, 150 miles away. Their daughters were camping at the time and had texted their mom to wish her a happy Mother's Day. When they got no response, the daughters, they told their dad, Barry, about it. Barry then got hold of a neighbor and asked them to check on her. The neighbor said that Suzanne's car was there, but she was not home. Barry suggested that he check for her bike because she was a mountain biker. The neighbor confirmed that they could not see her bicycle, so Barry asked them to call the police. Barry then headed home, but first made a few stops, including to drop off a shovel and some other tools for his co-workers at a hotel where he had booked rooms for them and himself. And he started driving at approximately 6 p.m. Okay? So, police found Suzanne's bicycle and helmet about 1 mile apart. There were no signs of a struggle or accident. Her sunglasses and hydration pack were found inside her car. Police thought that perhaps the scene had been staged. So they were already a little bit concerned about what they'd found and how they found it, right? And so there was a missing persons flyer. But if I remember correctly, there was a time limit that Barry Morphew had set for that. Like you would have to find her in a certain time to get the reward, something like that. Suzanne Morphew, 49, of Chaffee County, has been missing since Sunday, May 10th. She left her home for a bike ride near County Road 225 and West Highway 50 and did not return. Police and family are seeking any information that leads to her safe return. No questions asked and offer a $100,000 reward. Investigation is ongoing, and the CCSO asks anyone who may have information to call the tip line, right? So that's what was shared then. Pokey Mom, so does anyone know the address of the site in Broomfield? I already drove by the hotel. Maybe MB Inc. knows it. I don't know, MB Inc., if you're still in chat here, man. Maybe you know it, but otherwise, I'm not too sure of the exact address. So Barry made a plea, which we watched in the first live stream, which is linked for you, right, on May 17th of 2020 to Suzanne's potential kidnappers. But he later told a YouTuber that he thought maybe mountain lions got to her. Investigators believe that there was a struggle in the home when Barry got home, that he potentially chased her with a tranquilizer gun, which is why her autopsy results get very interesting, because investigators believe that he potentially chased her with a tranquilizer gun, staged the scene with a bike and helmet, and got rid of evidence, including her remains. Barry took a photograph of the door frame and explained to the police that the previous owners said it was already there before Barry bought the house. He said he went to bed around 8 p.m. on May 9th of 2020, but his truck's forensic evidence said otherwise. For example, it was put in reverse and moved closer to the home around 9:30 p.m. So there's a couple of red flags and lies along the way, right? Brenda says Barry claimed that he had thrown away the tranquilizer gun and all the tranquilizer. I'll just bet he did. Yeah, exactly. So there was a crack on the door. That line that you can see is apparently a crack on the door on the door frame to the master bedroom. Okay. Maui Me says arrest him now. He's a flight risk. I mean, it could be, right? So cell phone records showed Barry's phone pinging all around the house outside of their home on May 9th of 2020, as you can see in the picture on the right-hand side there. When investigators asked him about this, he said he was running around the property shooting chipmunks, claiming that they were a nuisance in the area. A plastic needle cap from a tranquilizer gun was found in the family dryer. Keep this all in mind for when we go over the autopsy, okay? Investigators believe that Barry may have been chasing Suzanne around the house with the tranquilizer gun. They did not, however, find a working tranquilizer gun at the house or tranquilizer chemicals. This is one of the exhibits, by the way. That's the cap they found in the family dryer. So, interesting. When investigators asked Barry about the cap that they found in the dryer, he said that he had no idea how it got in the dryer, but he admitted that he used tranquilizer guns to illegally sedate deer to collect and sell their antlers. Investigators started looking into Suzanne's text messages in the months before her disappearance and saw that she had told friends about the rocky marriage, and she texted, "I would not feel safe alone with him." So yeah, you could see some of the text messages. He's not going to be rational. Something happened yesterday that brought on this, or is it just this everyday normal that he is building up and wearing you down? And she said, money stuff, it's sketchy. Was he planning on going with Mallory, that's one of their daughters, or was that just a snag at getting someone on his side? She said, I need to ask your opinion on it. He also asked me if I'm talking to anyone about our marriage, like friends. And then the friend says, make sure he doesn't see your phone. You keep it with you? Yes. When will you be home? Probably late. She said, he came home when the girls are gone. He won't speak of divorce, begging for another chance. I'm so torn, but in my heart, I know who he is. Is this what he always says? How long can you keep forgiving him? That was convenient timing too. And she said, that's what I told him. He threw the 70 by 7 at me, always using scripture when it's convenient. Yeah, Spin Stir says sedating deer to cut antlers, disgusting. I know, right? Terrible. Illegally sedating deers with his tranquilizer that he got to harvest their antlers. Now, Barry's explanation when investigators said that they believe that he shot a tranquilizer gun in and around the house, he said, the first thing I thought of when I came here and saw deer in my yard with big horns, I'm like, I'm getting them horns. And I'll tell you exactly what I did. I shoot him. They go to sleep. I cut their horns off. It's totally illegal. But you're going to find tranq darts around my property because I've done that. And that's his story, okay? Now, yes, a couple more red flags, okay? The investigators found surveillance footage that showed Barry throwing trash. He threw out trash at multiple locations around Broomfield, Colorado. Barry's explanation was that he regularly dropped trash in dumpsters and accessible bins to avoid having to pay fees to dump things at the landfill. Said this is what he normally did, okay? Which maybe he did, but it's just like in the context of it all, it's like, wow, that's really a little bit strange, hey? Driving around, throwing things away in various dumpsters. On May 13th of 2020, investigators took photos of Barry showing scratch marks. 1 year later, on May 5th of 2021, Barry Morphew was arrested and charged with Suzanne's murder, tampering with evidence, and attempting to influence a public servant. So that was massive news. I mean, look at him there, the mugshot time. We got some mugshot time. Of course, during pandemic time as well. Barry was held without bond, and he pleaded not guilty. I find that the proof is not evident, nor is the presumption great that Mr. Morphew committed first-degree murder, said Judge Murphy. The judge then said $500,000 cash-only bond for Barry would be set, and then the judge recused himself. Okay. And then he was released on September 20th of 2021. Barry and Suzanne's daughter stand firmly with their dad, believing that he's innocent. In April of 2022, Judge Lama ruled that prosecutors had repeatedly missed deadlines and failed to turn over important information in the discovery phase. You see, I know I bring this case up all the time, but when we think of Delphi, people are like, so what if the prosecution delays things? Not normally us in chat, but others, and then it's like, so, well, it can cause this as well. Isn't that risky? Isn't it a concern? The judge is like, nope, the prosecutors had repeatedly missed deadlines and had failed to turn over important information in the discovery phase. And this dude walked after being charged with murder, tampering with evidence, intimidating a witness and all of that. Goody girl, thank you so much. Welcome. Now, other DNA? Investigators found a partial match of DNA to an unnamed male connected to at least 3 unsolved SA cases in Chicago, Phoenix, and Tempe. Okay, which investigators found a partial match of DNA. I think that was in a car, if I remember correctly. Was it a car or a bicycle? Someone remind me if you do know. But remember how they handled a bicycle as well. Oh my word, we looked at that last time. They found it and just didn't use gloves and were just grabbing it and... Oh no. Okay, so Barry's legal team said that this was exculpatory evidence, including DNA, there we go, on Suzanne's bike, helmet, and in the house. On April 19th of 2022, a judge dismissed the case against Barry Morphew. Okay, so April 19th of 2022. The 11th Judicial District Attorney filed the motion to dismiss without prejudice, which means that the charges could be filed against Barry Morphew at a later date. So the way that they dismissed the case left the door open to be able to charge him again, if they have that evidence too. Robin says Suzanne's car. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. So that was shocking. Now, Suzanne Morphew's remains were found on September 22nd of 2023 and identified September 27th of 2023. There's a statement that was made where they said Barry is with his daughters and they're all struggling with immense shock and grief after learning that their mother and wife, whom they deeply love, was found deceased. They had faith that their wife and mom would walk back into their lives again. This news is heartbreaking. Neither the DA nor the authorities notified Mallory and Macy Morphew about the recovery of their mom, which that sucks. They didn't notify her daughters. That's what the lawyer for Barry Morphew said, which brings up a lot of debate in this case, the things that the lawyer does and says. I see a lot of that in this case, as I say. And I think they sue a lot of people as well along the way. So it's kind of scary to talk about this case. Sometimes you're just like, what? What can I say? Objection case said, I thought it was her truck, Grizzly True Crime. Oh, thank you so much. And Lorna Dune said, Barry said he last used tranquilizers the previous April to harvest deer horns. Deers are just starting to grow horns in April. Yeah, and he changed his story about when exactly he used the tranquilizers or not, right? He initially said that he used it the last April, and then after that he said he's never used it in Colorado before. So here is MB Inc. that I keep referring to. This is MB Inc. He's got a channel. If you want to click on it there, subscribe over there, check it out. He's always helping us out here at Grizzly True Crime with press conference links and finding documents. We're always hunting documents together and information and things. So, okay, so we're almost done with the presentation. And then I'm going to read you the latest article and show you the autopsy results, okay? So let's first go through this, which is part of the presentation. Then we're going to get to the Denver Gazette. Very informative article that was released yesterday, actually. April 29th of 2024. So this is from yesterday, right? Suzanne Morphew's autopsy report was released by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. So if you're seeing this case back in the news, that's why. If you're wondering, why is everyone talking about this? This is why. Okay, the autopsy report was released. Suzanne Morphew's cause of death was determined to be homicide by undetermined means in the setting of butorphanol, azaperone, and medetomidine intoxication. Now, if anyone is a doctor, a chemist, a pharmacist, anything like that, if I butchered the names, if you just know how exactly to say those names, I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best there. But those are all tranquilizers, basically. If you sum that all up, like, wow, all tranquilizers. Like, oh my goodness, to immobilize big animals, like bears. Okay, says leave bears alone. Crochet Mama, oh, thank you so much. Justice for Suzanne, yes. So, this is also known as BAM. It's a combination, as you can see here, where they say the NIH also cites this BAM combination as being effective, safe, and easy to use protocol in bears when conducting immobilization. Damn. But to know the background of the case, and then they didn't find her remains for a long time. Barry Morphew, his case was dismissed. Then they found the remains. That was really like, oh my word, what's going to happen now? And now the autopsy says that it's homicide by undetermined means, but in the setting of all of that, in her bone marrow? Can you imagine how strong the tranquilizer must be? Stefan says, the chipmunk tranquilizers. He's running around shooting chipmunks. I don't think with tranquilizers, but he was running around apparently shooting chipmunks. But then the police are like all running around with the trank gun trying to shoot Suzanne, which sounds quite plausible now. Okay, so they said butorphanol is a synthetic opioid, which is used as a nasal spray for treatment of, I know you guys say migraine. In South Africa, we say migraine. Don't laugh at it. People always like, migraine. Okay, I'll say migraine for you. It's a nasal spray for treatment of migraine headaches and parenterally, oh, that's a hard word, as a narcotic analgesic for moderate to severe pain, or as an adjunct to general anesthesia. That already alone sounds like freaking strong, okay? Then, on top of that, they found all of these, right, in her skeletal remains. There's no tissue left. Skeletal remains. How scary is that? Azaperone is not even going to try to say that one, should I? Pyridinal piperazine. And this other one, a neuroleptic drug with sedative and antiemetic effects, which is used mainly as a tranquilizer in veterinary medicine. It is uncommonly used in humans as an antipsychotic drug. And then you should have seen, I typed in how to pronounce this word, and then you should have seen how fast the thing says it. Uncle Google has some funny guy on there saying how to pronounce this word. Medetomidine, okay, is a synthetic drug used as both a surgical anesthetic and analgesic. It is a veterinary anesthesia. 3 of these they sound very potent. Very potent tranquilizers. 3 of them. Wow. Shauna says, you think you talk fast sometimes. You should hear yourself on 1.5 speed. I do hear myself on 1.5 speed because I always check. For timestamps. How do you guys think I do timestamps? I have to re-listen to my damn self. That's no fun at all. So, as I say, if you combine the B, the A, and the M, they call it BAM, then that combination, and it's an effective, safe, and easy-to-use protocol in bears when conducting immobilization, which one could say then, we don't know how Suzanne was murdered, because they say homicide, but it seems like she was immobilized with some pretty powerful tranquilizers, which makes the tranquilizer, gun cap and all of that in the dryer and all of that quite interesting, right? And of course, the defense has their reasoning for it. Now, we're going to see from the autopsy report as well that this item of clothing was found there. This crested butte hoodie. So thank you to MB Inc. for sending me these pictures. And the area on the right-hand side is actually where her remains were found. Wow. So, okay. So it's not quite her bicycle gear for the day either, which makes me really question the bicycle story. Like, she went out for a bike ride that day. Did she? Or what happened to her the day before? Like, the night before, when the husband saying, we made love. Did you? Or were you, chasing her around the house or what? Okay, we'll leave it at that. We don't want to get sued. They do like to sue people. Okay, shh. So, here's a statement that was released on behalf of Barry and the family by his attorneys. They said, for the past 4 years, the Morphews have agonized over Suzanne's disappearance. This included not only the pain of the loss of their wife and mother, but also the false accusations and prosecution of Barry Morphew. The Morphews have prayed the authorities would remove their blinders and not only find Suzanne, but find the suspect responsible for her disappearance and murder. However, the Morphews are left with more questions than answers and a lack of justice for Suzanne, the family, and the community. On May the 10th, 2020, at around 5 a.m., Barry Morphew went to work, driving approximately 160 miles north of the Morphew home for a job that had been planned for months. In 2020, investigators confirmed that Suzanne was a regular morning coffee drinker, and DNA testing done in 2020 confirmed that the half-finished cup of coffee left on the kitchen counter on May 10th of 2020 was covered in her DNA only. The autopsy now also confirms that on the day that she disappeared, Suzanne had her morning cup of coffee as shown by the caffeine in her toxicology report. The autopsy also confirms that she put on her mountain bike clothes, but then they found the hoodie there. So that's not her mountain bike clothes, but okay. Continue. And was either getting ready for or was already in her morning on her morning bike ride when she was abducted, allegedly drugged, and buried 50 miles south of their home. Interesting. It's interesting at this time, as the autopsy comes out, that this statement needs to be made. I find that quite interesting in itself, right? Despite the fact that unknown male DNA was found in Suzanne's car, where her bike was parked, on her bike grips, handlebars, and bike seat, the authorities will not tell the Morphew family whether Suzanne's bike clothes collected 7 months ago with her remains have been tested for DNA. DNA left on her clothing by the murderer could bring justice for Suzanne, her family, and the community. The authorities will also not provide the Morphews any information regarding whether they have performed any testing on the bullet that was collected with Suzanne's remains, because there was a bullet there. The authorities offered the victims, Barry, Mallory, and Macy, the option to retrieve Suzanne's remains, but they want to ensure that the suspect is apprehended before they take what could be an important piece of evidence in the suspect's prosecution. The family is quite skeptical about the integrity of this investigation, as the very same investigators that concealed the unknown male DNA continue to be involved in this investigation and were present at the autopsy of Suzanne Morphew. The family asks for privacy and implores the authorities to look at the case with fresh eyes, follow all leads, conduct all forensic testing, and solve Suzanne's murder. The public is asked to continue to report any information. So, if you do have any information to share, if you know anything that you think could be helpful, you can still call the tip line at 719-312-7530, or you could email cdps_Suzanne Morphew _tipline at state.co.us. I'll put that in the description box as well. All right, so that was the statement as soon as the autopsy came out, which is quite interesting. All right, now we've done the presentation, right? And again, I can't believe today would have been Suzanne's 53rd birthday. Wow. So we've got that. I quickly want to show you here. I don't have too much on the map right now, but I do want to just show you a quick one. Just where the Morphew home was. I believe they sold it now. And where Suzanne's remains were found. It's in this area called like Moffat, Colorado. Okay. When I hear Colorado, I think of Letitia Stark's trial. I think of Kevin Clark, District Attorney Michael Allen. If you haven't seen the interviews that I did with them, go check it out. It's on my playlist there somewhere for Letitia Stark's trial. But there's the home, and that's where she was found. And again, I say she was found by chance because they were looking for another missing woman, Edna Quintano. Let me quickly just find the name one more time. Edna Quintana. Missing, and I believe still missing. Wow. Simi Sharp says, who chases a squirrel with bear tranquilizer? Listen, it was chipmunks. And also, he wasn't, according to his story, he wasn't chasing chipmunks with a tranquilizer gun. He was just chasing chipmunks. So it could have just been with a handgun or something, right? But he did admit to having tranquilizer guns and the tranquilizer needed to illegally sedate deer to harvest their horns, which he changed his story of when he last did it. He said, oh, it was last April, and then before that, which was about a month before Suzanne disappeared, aka was murdered. And then he said, no, he's actually never used it in Colorado. So A said, not an accident to find her, but how did they find her? It's just like looking for Edna Quintana, who they never found, and then coming across these remains. There? Whoa, okay. So now, let me quickly pull up the autopsy report so you can see it, and then we'll read an article which will tie this all together for us, okay? Rob says, now they will be chasing Barry. Oh dear. Don't get me sued, Rob. Now they're going to chase Barry. What is that sound? Do I hear handcuffs clinking? I don't know. Maybe. We will see what happens here, but it's just like, whew, what a case, right? So it was the El Paso County coroner that conducted this autopsy of Suzanne Morphew, date of birth 04/30/1971. So she would have turned 53 today. And date of pronouncement was 09/22/2023, actually. They've just released it now to the public. Final diagnosis is homicide by unspecified means in the setting of, so they don't know exactly how she was murdered. Okay, but they know she was murdered, of course, because she didn't bury herself out there, in the middle of nowhere. With, it sounds like, just skeletal remains. Like, what? Okay, so they're not sure exactly how. They say homicide by unspecified means, but in the setting of being completely immobilized, basically, from those tranquilizers, butorphanol, azaperone, and medetomidine, intoxication. Wow. Reported history of recovery of a partial skeleton, medical port, and clothing scattered in and around a shallow grave in Saguache County. Now, okay, who's impressed that I said Saguache County? Did I say it right? I've been practicing all afternoon. I'm like, Saguache, because you want to say like Saguache, Saguache, okay, county. Positive dental identification at the time of autopsy examination. Reported history, the decedent was reported missing in Chaffee County 05/10/2020, and her bicycle and helmet were discovered without significant damage in separate locations within the county. No indication of perimortem trauma, see forensic anthropology report, which they didn't attach here. Post-mortem toxicology of femoral trabecular bone identified with those substances in the bones. There's only skeletal remains. I'll say it again. No tissue, okay? So can you imagine just how strong that mix of tranquilizers is? It's not for humans, Okay, so post-mortem toxicology of that. Okay, I read that. Positive DNA identification, right and left femurs. Clinical history, the decedent was receiving shame. Man, this breaks my heart every time. Every time I read this, I'm just like, oh my word. She was receiving maintenance, Rituxan chemotherapy after complete remission of recurrent follicular lymphoma. Like, they had battled cancer. In these cases, if it's somebody we've seen cases before, where someone is battling, like, cancer, for example, and then someone murders them. I'm like, really? After they overcame all that? Like, there's no reason to ever murder anyone. That just adds that extra bit of pain, right? So someone says, just hold on one second. Oh yeah, deer antlers, not horns. He was harvesting deer antlers and selling them, I believe. I think he had a lot in his house as well. Okay, so Anna Banner said not double jeopardy because the case was dismissed without prejudice, which means that he can have the charges brought back against him if more evidence is found. And hopefully this time, if they do, they have their ish together. The prosecution, oh my. Don't mess it up now. So they said opinion. Based upon the information provided to me at the time of this report, it is my opinion that Suzanne Morphew, a 52-year-old adult white female, died as a result of homicide. by unspecified means in the setting of butorphanol, azaperone, and medetomidine intoxication. These drugs are marketed as a compounded, injectable chemical immobilizer for wildlife, providing pharmacological, reversible analgesia, sedation, and immobilization. Super mix of tranquilizers. If more information becomes available, this report may be amended. And look at all the signatures you can see there. Okay. Persons present at autopsy, they talk about that as well. The decedent was initially identified as Jane Doe. So when you see here, it says Jane Doe R and 17, Saguache County, day 1. Then they say Skull, day 2 and 3. They initially didn't know it was, of course, Suzanne Morphew. They found these remains. They were looking for some other lady. And then they tested it, and they're like, what? Okay. So, initially identified as Jane Doe, submitted for examination are 3 large paper bags containing bones, 7 brown paper bags containing clothing, and 7 envelopes containing items to be described. The submitted items are radiographed. Yeah, Phoebe, allegedly. External examination, the skeletal remains are submitted in 3 bags. I mean, to think what whoever the killer reduced her to is just heartbreaking, right? Now, here you can pause to read if you want to read all the exact bones that were found, okay? So they said, purple medical device grave. The envelope contains a dirt-covered purple medical port labeled 6328. 7 brown paper bags remain in the custody of CBI and contain a pale patterned balaclava, a pink and light color leather work glove, a light color partial padded bra, a ripped dark blue-gray hooded sweatshirt labeled Crested Butte, which you saw in my presentation, a torn green Nike tank top, Yeti shorts, and a fabric fragment. The clothing and fabric fragment are all weathered and covered in dirt. All paper bags were labeled respective to their contents. 6 envelopes remain in the custody of CBI, contain 5 fabric fragments, and 1 weathered bullet, and are labeled as such. Okay, very interesting. The medical device is released to Chaffee County Sheriff's Office. A disc of 2 x-rays is released. They talk about possible bones. 3 teeth are released to CBI on 10/03/2023 for DNA testing. And then just wherever, everywhere that all this evidence is released to. All right. So that is what we have with that. Then let me quickly bring up this that I want to show you. This one, which should be, I might have to resize it a bit for us. But they say, long-awaited Suzanne Morphew toxicology report raises new questions in homicide case. Okay, so let's do it like this. If you like the way that I present true crime, please like and share. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I hope that you will become part of this wonderful community. Thank you all for being here. Nurse Jana said, well done for pronunciation of medical word. Impressive. Thank you so much. I got a gold star today. So I think Saguache was the hardest one to say though. No. Saguache. Okay. A long-awaited toxicology report on Suzanne Morphew's remains could upend the nearly 4-year-old murder case. I wonder if the husband's feeling very nervous right now, right? Okay, a test found that Suzanne Morphew had chemicals in her bones that do not appear naturally in humans, according to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the official autopsy report. Specifically, a source who wished to remain anonymous stated that the test came from the bone marrow of Suzanne Morphew's femur. That's a good question. Trish says, where's the shoes? Yeah, where's the shoes? Interesting. So, butorphanol, azaperone, and medetomidine, the chemicals found in Morphew's femur, according to the report, are used by biologists, wildlife officers, and hunters to anesthetize large-sized animals such as deer, bear, moose, and horses. The report described the compound as an injectable chemical immobilizer for wildlife, the symptoms of which can be reversed. The autopsy report, that's what we just looked at, performed by the El Paso County Coroner's Office, found Suzanne Morphew's cause of death to be undetermined and the manner of death to be homicide. So that's really very important in this case now, because now we know it's homicide. It's no longer speculation that she died by homicide. Suzanne Morphew was murdered. Now, she had a lot of tranquilizer in her system based on just skeletal remains that were found, right? Kelly D says, I love the way you present true crime. I think you are the best out there. Love the research and documents. Oh, thank you so much. So, the autopsy report was finished on September 27th of 2023. And it's only just come out now, publicly, right? Just days after Morphew's remains were discovered, by accident, by an investigative team from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation looking for a different person. Which I feel so sorry for their family. Edna Quintana's family. Like, where's Edna? I'm going to put just one more search here in Uncle Google because I've been searching all day. Like, was she found? There's just nothing. There was a prayer vigil in October last year and there's just no news on Edna. Oh my goodness. Nurse Janice said, yes, South Africans say shame. Yeah, we do. We say shame. It's like a, I hope you understand what it means, the way I say it. So the autopsy results took a long time to be released, 7 months, as investigators waited for test results. It's unclear whether the new information will lead to reopening the case. I have a hunch that it will. Let me know what you think. So BAM, right, are the same substances that Suzanne's husband, Barry Morphew, told investigators that he routinely used to immobilize deer before he removed their antlers. The chemical mixture is often sold in kit form with the acronym BAM. So for everyone saying, where does he get it? Well, remember that, wow, I'm really sparkling now. Remember that dentist, what was his name? James Craig, I think it was, huh? Remember he got cyanide on Amazon. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. Let's just go like this quickly. I don't know what's going on with my coloring now. I've gone gray. How about that? There we go. Fixed. So, I've butorphanol, azaperone, and medetomidine are the same substances that Suzanne's husband, Barry Morphew, told investigators that's a huge red flag. He routinely used to immobilize deer before he removed their antlers. The chemical mixture is often sold in kit form with the acronym BAM. Barry Morphew's attorney, Iris Ayton, I hope I'm saying her name right, Ayton, told the Denver Gazette that investigators should be look past Barry Morphew as a suspect and concentrate on other people in the region who may have gotten a prescription and knew that Suzanne Morphew was in her house alone that day. That's a lot of coincidence there to be like, listen, don't look at the husband, okay? And that Suzanne was trying to get a divorce or any of the affairs. Don't look at that. Look past that. And just think of someone else who may have had these tranquilizers and also knew that Suzanne was alone that day at that time. Like, oh my goodness. That doesn't sound that plausible, but you never know, okay? Ayton, who said that she has concerns about the integrity of the investigation, added, special veterinarians have the ability to prescribe these controlled substances. If they do their job and don't have blinders on, they'll be able to get the prescription record, which farmers and ranchers had it, and especially in that area. Oh, they're going to bust everyone who had those things, right? She spoke of a consistently troubled relationship between the investigation and Barry Morphew and his daughters. In my opinion, in this case, I'd focused on the troubled relationship at the time when Suzanne was murdered. Okay, so when asked if Barry Morphew is worried about the new development that could look bad for him, his lawyer, Ayton, replied, "What do you mean? He wants to know who did it. He wants for them to pound the pavement and find out." Okay. According to the 129-page arrest affidavit, when investigators questioned Barry Morphew about the tranquilizer on May 5th of 2021, he told them, "I've shot 2 deer with my tranq gun because I used to raise deer and I collect horns and I'll tell you exactly what I did." See, he said horns. But he's like, I'll just tell you exactly what I did. They're in the yard. I shoot them, they go to sleep, I cut their horns off, I wake them up, and they go off with no horns on their head. "You're going to find tranq darts around my property, because I've done that," he added. The chemicals were the crux of the prosecutor's case in the high-profile trial, which the 11th Judicial District Judge Ramsey Lama dismissed without prejudice 9 days before it was scheduled to begin. Barry Morphew walked out of the courthouse a free man on April 19th of 2022. Do you remember that? Like, do you remember seeing those clips and the footage? I was like, wait, what? What happened in this case here? Dismissed without prejudice means that a case is dismissed but can be refiled at some point. Suzanne Morphew's bones were discovered scattered in a dry, high desert field south of the town of Moffat on September 22nd, 7 months ago, after the case against her husband was dismissed. Prosecutors theorized, so maybe it's a good thing, that the trial didn't happen yet, because after the case was dismissed, they found her remains, and now they can find all of this evidence now as well. Okay, prosecutors theorized that Barry Morphew caught his wife at home, sunbathing and texting her lover on May 9th of 2020, and, enraged that his suspicions about the romance were true, injected her with the chemicals to put her to sleep and killed her later, according to testimony from the preliminary hearing in August of 2021. Morphew gave inconsistent answers in police interviews as to the last time that he used the tranquilizer serum, the arrest document said. So, in the May 5th interview, he said the last time he used the chemicals to sedate deer was at the end of April of 2020, just weeks before his wife was last seen alive. But on a subsequent interview on May 28th, he said that he only used them in Indiana to medicate white-tailed deer and never in Colorado. The Morphew family moved to Maysville near Salida from Indiana, hoping for a fresh start and to be closer to their oldest daughter, Mallory, who was going to college. In May of that year, Suzanne Morphew's cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, returned. Macy, in high school, lived at home. Barry Morphew has always maintained his innocence. The couple's two daughters, Macy and Mallory Morphew, have stood by their father throughout the years since their mother first disappeared, Aiton said. Of course they're sticking by their dad. They wouldn't believe in a million years that he would have harmed them, Aiton said. Which I guess one could understand. We've seen this happen in cases before. I just wish, that one could just consider. Somebody's got to fight for Suzanne Morphew, right? Criminal meds, so taking an animal for their rack is awful and illegal. Yeah. Renee says, oh, Barry, shut up. Brian and Jill say what makes the most sense is typically the truth. This husband is full of cuck, as we say in South Africa. Now, tranquilizer cap in the dryer. Investigators searching the Morphew home 10 days after Suzanne Morphew disappeared found a tranquilizer cap or sheath in the dryer trap. That was a lot. That was a whole mouthful. Tranquilizer cap or sheath in the dryer trap, according to arrest documents. Prosecutors argued that a set of sheets from the bed of Morphew's oldest daughter and the shorts that Barry Morphew was wearing the day that she was reported to have disappeared were also in the dryer. But according to a complaint filed by Mr. Morphew's attorney with the Office of the Supreme Court, which investigates alleged attorney misconduct, the sheath was found after the clothes had been removed. The needle sheath was found on its own in the dryer bin after the household laundry, including a pair of Mr. Morphew's shorts, Morphew family clothing, and sheets had already been removed from the dryer bin more than a week prior. Maybe it was in his pocket of the shorts, and just when it was removed, they didn't do washing again or, didn't dry anything again, and that was in there. Who knows? Most importantly, there was no tranquilizers, tranquilizer serum, or evidence of tranquilizer serum found in the garage or anywhere in the house, Aiton wrote. Investigators admitted to attorney Drew Nielsen during the August 2021 evidentiary hearing that Barry Morphew's DNA was excluded from the plastic tranquilizer cap found in the dryer drum. Still, when investigators asked Barry Morphew on April 2nd of 2021 about the actual tranquilizer chemicals, he told them that he kept them on a workbench in the garage, but that he might have thrown them away during a trip to Broomfield. He's like giving clues. When he was going to all those dumpsters, he's like, might have thrown them away during a trip to Broomfield, the day that Suzanne Morphew was reported missing, according to the arrest affidavit. So that's just a day that he's just throwing away, tranquilizers. Okay. Investigators documented 5 trash runs that day, the arrest document reported. Barry Morphew was known to throw trash in public bins to save money, and according to the arrest document, he explained to investigators, I've done that my whole entire life. My truck's a mess. I'm a tightwad, and I don't want to pay to throw away trash. Okay. Right. Barry Morphew was arrested for his wife's murder on May 5th of 2021, almost a year to the day after Suzanne Morphew, 49, disappeared. She was last known to be alive on May 9th of 2020 and wasn't reported missing from the family home in Maysville until the next afternoon, which was Mother's Day. Her last proof of life photo was a selfie that she took at 2:07 and sent to her lover, Jeff Libler, who lived in Michigan. Barry Morphew was the last known person to see his wife alive. He told investigators that his last view of her was a lump in their bed when he left for a landscaping job in Broomfield at 5 a.m. on Mother's Day, May 10th of 2020. He told investigators in multiple interviews over the weeks and months after she went missing that the last time that he saw his wife, she was snoring, according to testimony during a preliminary hearing. I mean, of course, he would say something like that, right? We hear that often, right? It's just like, let's just humiliate the victim further. Allegedly. It's like, no, man, she was in bed. She was snoring. Just a lump in the bed. Okay. Investigators tied Morphew's memory about the snoring to symptoms that Suzanne Morphew would have shown had she been injected with the animal tranquilizer, according to the arrest affidavit. Investigators are like, oh, well, we know why she was snoring. Tranquilizers, huh? He's like, what? So, scheduled to testify in the Doom trial was a retired Colorado Parks and Wildlife biologist named Lisa Wolf. During the prelim hearing, investigators testified that they interviewed Wolf about how that BAM would affect a human being, that combination, right? She told them that the chemical compound known as BAM had never been tested on humans, but if it were, she said that a female who was Suzanne Morphew's size would be fully sedated in 10 to 12 minutes and would remain in complete sedation for 2 to 8 hours, according to the arrest affidavit. Wolf told investigators that upon first receiving the drug, a woman of Suzanne Morphew's size would feel wobbly and unstable, not unlike the feeling of being drunk. Wow, okay. Yeah, Jenna's like, lol, trank snoring, right? Debbie, welcome. MB Inc. says those attorneys trashed Suzanne's name and memory. Oh, that's so unfortunate when they do that. When defense attorneys resort to that. Oh, no. We don't like that. Right? Victim blaming. If that's the strategy, horrible. We've seen cases like that, like Jessie Kershevsky and her original attorney. She's been through many, but the ones we saw originally at the trial. So, if she were on her back, her breathing would sound like a snore, Wolf told detectives, adding that a full dose of BAM would be fatal to a human being. Wolf authored a report on BAM as a safe and effective way to immobilize black bears. Wolf was one of 14 expert witnesses struck by the 11th Judicial District Judge Ramsey Lama in the weeks before the trial. In a 20-page order, Lama gave a scathing rebuke to the prosecution for what he called a sloppy and reckless pattern of discovery violations. Lama did not find a discovery violation regarding Wolf's testimony, but considered the tranquilizer injection theory too speculative and too tenuous and thought that its admission would be an error, according to Ayton's complaint. Well, what now? With the autopsy result, is it still too speculative? Huh? Also ousted from testifying as experts were witnesses who were going to give their opinions on cell phone records, DNA, telematics, which tracks vehicle movement. With such a weakened case, prosecutors asked Lama to dismiss it without prejudice, and the request was granted. Okay. Whether the toxicology findings will bring new life to what has at times appeared to be a doomed case is unclear. There's a good possibility that if the Morphew case is retried, that it won't happen in the 11th Judicial District, where the investigators believe that Suzanne Morphew was killed. An alternative would be to start over in the neighboring 12th District, where her remains were found. Can't they be in the 4th District? It was the 4th Judicial, right? With District Attorney Michael Allen, Kevin Clark, Timeline Guy? Huh? Wow, that would be amazing. Okay, but 12th, maybe it's going to be in the 12th District, is what they're saying. The 12th is run by District Attorney Ann Kelly, who has refused to comment on the investigation in the past. Well, that's in her favor now, right? Barry Morphew, 56, now lives in Indiana. Okay. And as next of kin, received the results of his wife's autopsy report last week. He's planning a celebration of her life on Saturday, May 4th. Tuesday would have been Suzanne Morphew's 53rd birthday. Wow. So we have that. I think I've actually shown you pretty much everything I wanted to show you. There's just this CBI Colorado news bulletin. We like to read those as well. Of course, what does the police say? I hope you could see it. They said the agencies investigating the Suzanne Morphew case are aware the autopsy report of Suzanne is now complete and determined her death to be homicide by undetermined means in the setting of the BAM. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation and our law enforcement partners understand and appreciate the public interest surrounding this case, said CBI Director Chris Schaefer. The investigative team assembled to work this case continues to follow the evidence and only the evidence as we seek justice for Suzanne's death. For her murder, right? Suzanne's remains were found in the town of Moffett in Saguache County. It's in the 12th Judicial District. The investigative team will continue to consult with the 12th Judicial District Attorney Ann Kelly. The autopsy report was shared with the Morphew family as soon as the coroner received it. No further information can be shared at this time, as this remains an active investigation. Morphew tip line phone, there it is, 719-312-7530, as well as a tip line email. Okay, so I will make sure to put this in the description box as well. And so that is what I have for you today. Wow, okay. MB Inc. says, went back to private practice, quit being a judge. You mean the previous judge? The llama guy? Did he? Oh my word. Matt has got all the tea. I tell you, all the tea. Let's just do it like this. Okay. Tell us the tea, Matt. Is that the judge? The one that, dismissed it with the case without prejudice? Wow. Okay. Wow. Ann Smith says he needs to be arrested. Well, they got to make sure they got their ducks in a row, all the evidence lined up, that they arrest the right person. And yes, the focus, Renee, would be justice for Suzanne. Absolutely. Somebody did it. Somebody murdered her. Somebody put her out there, right? Where she was found. So, let me just quickly see. If you guys, just hold on one second. Okay, I've caught up. If you haven't seen the very first live stream that I did in this case, make sure you check it out. We looked at, Barry Morphew's interview before and all sorts of things. Just hold on one second. This one. We watched that together before. Very interesting to watch again, I'm sure. So go check that out. And if you do want to see, Colorado experts, even though they're from a different district, in action, you could see my interview with District Attorney Michael Allen. You can even vote for him, right? You could see him on X as well. Always being endorsed by people. I'm like, the Grizzlies endorse Michael Allen, the District Attorney, right? So you could check out my interview with DA Michael Allen, as well as Kevin Clark, the crime intelligence analyst. I mean, I'm sure a case like this, wow, it could really use a timeline like his, right? KG constrictors, you make me laugh. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you being here. Here, MB Inc. confirms for us, yes, Judge Ramsey Lama quit and went back to private practice. I mean, okay. Well, I'm seeing a silver lining here. The case was dismissed at a time when they had not found Suzanne Morphew's remains yet. The original judge quit, went back to private practice. It's going to be in a new district. Okay, I think this is all good. I think this time round they could do it right. What do you think? I have hope that there will be justice for Suzanne. And again, oh man, happy birthday to her sister as well, who shares her birthday with Suzanne, which is today, by the way. Let me quickly show you again. Today would have been Suzanne Morphew's 53rd birthday. She shares a birthday with her older sister, Melinda. Happy birthday, Melinda, and happy heavenly birthday to Suzanne. We are one step closer to finding justice for Suzanne Morphew. If you don't follow Lauren Sharp, you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. You can follow her on X. I think she's also on Facebook. She's been the lead reporter on this case and has done an excellent job. So go check her out. She's also got all the tea. So thank you so much, everyone. If you're on Patreon, please go there now to the email that I sent you earlier with the notification, right? Because we're going to have a Patreon only live stream now, and you can only find the link there. You will not get a notification because it's unlisted, okay? So if you're on Patreon, go there now, and I'll see you in the next 5 minutes or so. Thank you so much, everyone. See you again very soon. And yes, may there be justice for Suzanne. Bye.